We have spent a lot of time recently understanding how our church family relates to one another. This work has prepared us for planning for our future together as the McPherson Church of the Brethren. Not only is it important that we understand how we live and work with one another now, but it is equally important to understand how we have worked and lived with one another throughout our history. Because when we understand our past, our heritage, and our present, then we can confidently and optimistically plan and listen to God's call and live into the future God is calling us into. This coming November, we will, as the McPherson Church of the Brethren, celebrate 100 years of singing, praying, playing, and reaching out in the name of God here at the corner of Cary and Euclid Streets. November 5th, 1920, the ground was broken for this sanctuary 100 years ago. So each Sunday this fall and through Thanksgiving and into the hope that we encounter in the Advent season, we will be sharing a few moments of our past journey together. We will share historical tidbits about our building and our people, our programs, our leadership. When we know our past heritage, understand our leadership, our mission, our connections, then we can incorporate that knowledge as we begin again to listen intently to God's call on our lives, as we begin again to plan for the next steps, the future of the McPherson Church. It was 10 years ago, in preparation for our 125th anniversary celebration as a congregation, those 10 years ago, a history project group was formed. Art Hoke was an original member of that history project group. He also spearheaded this most recent group. He organized and planned and researched and wrote and encouraged all of us on this journey. 10 years ago, that original history project group for our 125th celebration was an 8-member team. We produced a book, a history book for that. We still have a few copies of that in our filing cabinet in the office. If you don't have a copy and would like a copy, just call the church office and we'll get you one. Of those original 8 members, 6 of those members joined this most recent team. Their work has been accomplished, I think, they started over a year ago almost. So I want to say a big thank you to Jill Brax and Art Hoke and Karen Hoke and Jan Hurst and Susan Taylor and Leroy Weddle. Some of you may or may not know that the McPherson Church of the Brethren was officially formed on August 22nd, 1885. The first love feast, where they washed each other's feet and broke bread together and had communion together, was held in an empty corn crib. And then there were meetings at what was called the Scrabble Hill Schoolhouse. And then there were meetings at what was called the Flora Hill Schoolhouse. And they also met in member houses in the area. That was followed by meetings in what became established as a West congregation and an East congregation, because travel was difficult when you were going by horse and buggy and took a long time. And then it was after that services of the East congregation were held on the newly formed McPherson College campus. Discussions began to happen about a new church building. And in fact, we can go back in our minutes and we find that those discussions came up a lot in those early years, in 1905 minutes, 1909 minutes, 1915 minutes, 1918 minutes. And finally, on November 5th, 1920, almost 100 years ago, ground was broken to begin building this sanctuary. 100 years ago, this sanctuary. So, over the next 12 weeks, we will post these new historical vignettes on the church website as we finish them each Sunday as they are shared. And we invite you into this process to embrace our past, our heritage, our leadership, our mission, our connections. And then we invite you to journey with us as we integrate our past into our present, that we might together plan for our future as God's hands and feet upon this earth. So we hope that you enjoy these moments over the next 11 weeks. And please, as you interact with those members of the history team, give them your thanks. So thank you, Art, and thank you, history team. And we will see you next Sunday for the first of the 11 vignettes.